Right, Alien Earth episode 3 has dropped, and it's called Metamorphosis, I think it's called. And what a great episode. So I do love this show. This episode, to me, it's ramped up a bit more. We got a lot more sort of like into the sort of the xenomorphs themselves in this one, so it's quite good. We're getting more into that, because a lot of people's criticism of this show so far has not been enough the xenomorph. It's been more like the androids and stuff, and I do understand that criticism completely. Now, I like the fact we're sort of slowly moving into this, and I think this is what this show's going to be. It's going to be a slow, sort of gets worse and worse and worse, and then boom, like, you know. So this episode, we sort of pick up where we left off in the last episode. So we've got old Wendy running after her brother, and she does a proper, like, what's his name, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. She's like after her brother. You see her sprinting, like, and she drops down a hole and she's sprinting again. She's trying to get to where her brother is. And her brother has been like cocooned up to a wall. And I was like, ooh, he's cocooned, like he's like up to the wall like this. So I was like, oh God, here we go. Is he going to be impregnated? Is this where we're going to see more aliens? Is he like, have they got him yet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, ooh. So she starts to rip off the stuff, and her brother's like, no, it's a trap. With that, you see an alien, like, cause like a meat locker thing, you see an alien sort of come around the curtain. And it's like just standing there, and then it sort of comes in. There's a bit of a running tussle sort of thing. They're chasing it after it. They sort of get away from it, and it ends up in like the air ducts above. And Wendy gets her sword, and she just up into the roof, and that like stabs the alien. And then first time we see the acid for blood. The acid comes through the thing, comes down. They then crash land. They sort of like fall through a floor, and they end up sort of like on the floor of the alien and that. And then the alien, like, you can't see Wendy anywhere. And the brother, he's looking for Wendy, our EMT from the last one. He's looking for Wendy, trying to find her. Next thing you know, he gets up, the alien stabs him with its tail through his stomach and throws him flying. And then the alien jumps on him. And I don't know why, and I don't know if we're going to find out why. I still think he's got an alien in him, I'm not sure, but then later on, this gets more thingy. But say about this guy, for some reason, the alien slaughters everyone it sees, but for him, it leaves. I don't know if there's going to be a reason for that. And my philosophy, my sort of like imagination has taken over here, and I'm thinking maybe there's only certain people that can host queens. And what if he's one of the certain people that can host the queen? That's where my logic went. Now, I don't know if I'm right. That's just my theory. That I think he's a host of a queen, and that's why the alien is like keeping him alive and not killing him. So it was looking at him, it's like something to do with him that's making the alien want to keep him alive. So that's what I was thinking. Instead of just being like a normal alien, maybe he's like a queen. I don't know. That's just where my brain's going. So anyway. So then you see the alien on top of him, the tongue of the alien comes out towards the sit. So the alien's tongue comes out, does the little open bit, and it sits where his face is then, just sort of like sits at him. And then we get Wendy comes from over hook, and she hooks the alien's tongue, and she's sort of dragging the alien along, like dragging it along by its tongue, and she makes a fright, and she's like, I know where it is, it's into like a room, and it's like a door, and she tells her brother to push the door, and he gets up and he pushes the door, and the door comes down, but Wendy gets dragged, like the alien's tongue gets ripped off, but Wendy gets like pulled in with the alien into this room as the door comes down, and the brother's frantically trying to, he's trying to, I've knocked the alien over, he's frantically trying to get the Wendy out by pushing the buttons and that, and suddenly the door comes up and you see the aliens on the floor, heads it's been decapitated, the head's off, and then you pan over and there's Wendy standing with the sword, and she's sort of all like, and it's just collapsed on the floor because she's been injured during this fight with the alien. So she's managed to overpower an alien, a xenomorph. She's overpowered it and killed it. So now we know sort of how good these robots are, strength-wise, or Wendy in particular is strength-wise. So, and then you get like, she collapses on the floor, the brother sort of crawls over, he's spitting up blood, like coughing up blood and stuff, and then he lies next to him, they hold hands, and you think that could be it, they could be dead sort of thing. And it's a night, in a lot of films, that's a way a lot of people tend to die, they're holding hands, and that could be the end of it. So then we go on to sort of the other characters, so we've got like the guy from Scream, the killer from Scream 2, whose name I always forget, bleached blonde hair, looks like Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner. He's there, he's an android, and he's in there, he's like going through the speech, looking at all different species they've got, and he gets a call from the boss of Prodigy, and he says, like, I want these specimens, it's now not a rescue mission anymore, scrap that, we're now just getting these specimens. And he's like, well, what about, and he's like, and he says about Wendy's run off and that, and he's like, well, you have to get her back. That's now you probably go get her back. So we're going to get these things. We then go to my favourite character in this show, who's the Indian android. I can't remember his name. They've all got like Lost Boy names. I can never remember what they are. It might be Smee or something, I don't know. But he's there, and he's in with the other eggs, and he's like looking at the eggs. He's quite nervous. He's like a child being nervous because they are kids, aren't they? So he's like all like. Then he hears the noise. He's like, and then his mate comes walking out. He's like, oh, hello. And he's like, oh, you scared me. They have like little play fights, sort of like wrestle sort of thing, because he scared him. And then they start joking around and explain to what they each seen. So he's like saying, I've just seen all these weird alien creatures. And then the Indian guy's like, well, I just saw this alien jump from here and he pushed her down there. And Wendy ran after him. It's like, she's like Amazon warrior mode. And it's just like, it's so funny. He's like so excited. They're both excited about these little stories they're telling each other. Typical like boy kids. It's really hilarious. And then the Wayland Yutani, who I now know is a cyborg. I thought he was just a robot, like a synthetic, but he's actually a cyborg. He's half human, half robot, which we haven't seen one of those yet, and I didn't realise that. I think you got told earlier on, but I didn't clock that. I was just too busy going, stuff's happening. But yeah, so he's a cyborg, so he's human, but he's got like robot parts. So he's got the knife and the hand that does, it's like a Swiss Army hand, really, does all kinds of stuff. He's got that, and then he comes along, and he sees the two like people when he starts talking to them. He clocks at their children. He's like, you're like children, because the way they're talking and the way they're sort of like, he's like, so we're not safe. And they're like pretend like that, trying not to tell them the secrets that they're what they are. Because he asks them, he's like, so what are you then? Because like you're synthetic, but you just mentioned that you've got parents. So like, what is going on? Like, what are you? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. And then they're still like trying to act all big and tough and that, like, we're not going to tell you. And then the guy, he goes up to a computer, he plugs himself in, and he downloads loads of files and then deletes them off the main drive. So he's obviously got some sort of information, obviously doesn't want anyone else getting hold of. And then he produces what I thought was a contact lens. It's like a little thing out of his finger, his little robotic Swiss Army arm. And it's like a little contact lens looking thing. And then he sort of goes up, he says, oh, what are you? And they won't tell him. And he lunges at the Indian guy's throat and sort of does that to him. And he's sort of got the knife out in his hand as well. And he's like proper scared. Because he's a kid. So even though he's a super strong robot, he's still a child. So he acts like a child. He freezes up as the guy's got in front. The other one just doesn't know what to do. He's standing there. And that's when we get a Rutger Hauer lookalike turn up. And he's like, leave him alone. Let him go. And he's very protective of them. Almost, he says, "Are you the parent?" Like the bad one says, "Are you the parent?" to him, and he's very much like, just very protective. He steps in front of them. They hide behind him like children would, like behind the adult. When he just stands in front of them, he's like, "What are you doing?" sort of thing. And he sort of manages to back him off. And we suddenly see, because he's standing next to an egg, the egg opens, like the old xenomorph eggs do. And this is the bit that kind of like, it threw me a little bit, because I've seen the Alien films for years. I've been watching them for years. So the egg opens up, and then he sees it, and he just jumps out of the thing, because obviously he's human, so obviously the egg can on him, right? But then the egg closes up again. And I've never seen that in an Alien film before, because the egg's always open, and then it comes out, and it either runs around, or it tries to find the thing to jump on, right? This, it just went, it closed up again. So it's like, it's obviously sensing body heat or breath or something it's sensing to open, for the egg to open. But then I don't know, that to me like kind of took me out a bit. I was like, well, that's never happened before. So then we sort of like, they gather all this stuff up and they leave the area. So they find Wendy and they find her brother and they get them on like a medical bay thing, and they're shipping them out. And they're taking a lot of the alien species with them, all the alien species with them, including the decapitated xenomorph and all the alien eggs they found on the ship as well. And all those funny ones, like the eye one, the octopus eye one, all these different creatures, they're taking them back to their Neverland sort of island, like research facility that they've got. So that's where we started off seeing them. They've gone back to there. They've taken all this stuff back with them. And instantly I was like, we're going to get like a Jurassic Park situation. Everything's now going to happen on this island. So we're going to get like the animals running around the island and stuff. All these different creatures are going to escape at some point. You know it's coming. And they're going to be running around inside, almost Jurassic Park style. So I was like, oh, this is good. I like the fact yes, they're on Earth, but they're not like all over the Earth. They're going to be trapped on an island by the sea. I liked that because it keeps it closed in, so we've got like a location, like you know to be. So they're back on this research field. They're walking around research field a lot, and we're sort of seeing different elements. So you got Wendy who's being operated on, and they're like, is she going to be fixed? Like our guy that's in charge, the guy that runs Prodigy, is like, is she going to be fixed? Is this going to work? Like, will I be able to talk to her? And the people that sort of like have raised her and looked after her while she's been in this facility are quite protective of him. They kind of want him gone. You can see there's going to be like almost like a mutiny, I think, where they're going to sort of like tell him to F off at some point because the way it's sort of set about. So that's what I think. I think we're going to get that sort of thing. Because you can see that the woman that sort of like helped take care of her when she was sick and sort of raised her and helped her, she's very motherly over her. And then we've got the other guy that does the robotic side of her, and he's also very like, this isn't right. We should not have sent her in there. She's not really, she's a prototype. We should never have sent them to that ship. Like, this is a bad idea. And the boss man, he's kind of like, oh no. And he's kind of getting pushed out a bit by him now, I think. But he's kind of like still holding on to it. But like they're kind of going against some of the stuff he's saying now. They're not agreeing with him, and he's not liking that because he's this boy genius who's like elevated above everyone else, and he's not gonna like being told you're wrong. So we're getting a lot of that, and I like that characteristic that's coming out now. So he's like that. They said no, you have to get out. Then he goes to where they've got all the aliens kept, and he goes in there. And he's standing there, he's looking at all the eggs and stuff, and then of course an egg opens up, and then the android's like, you need to get out now. And he makes him get out. He says to him like, why are you making me get out? And he's like, well, because if this alien comes out, it's a parasite, it's going to get you, and it's going to, he's already worked out, it's our guy from Scream 2, he's already worked out what is wrong, like how the aliens work, the fact that they're face hugger, implant, something bursts out. He's worked all this out by seeing the evidence that's around. He says, like, something bursts out someone's chest, we know what they do, you need to get out because it's a parasite that's going to come after you. So he goes out and says, we have to quarantine all this off. And then I thought, what if, because he's getting the up with some of these people that work for him that are kind of mutinying against him a little bit, kind of disagreeing with him now, what if he's going to chuck one of them in with the eggs? That's where my brain went. I was like, what if he does something like that, right? Doesn't happen yet, but I have a feeling that's coming. I just have a weird feeling that's coming. So then we sort of get, where are we up to now? So yeah, so Wendy's still asleep, everyone's down. And then we see the two guys, the sort of the Indian guy and the guy that was with him, that were speaking to the cyborg from Wayne Yutani. And they're sitting in the sofas chatting, and then Aid Edmondson walks in. And he's like the butler type one. He walks in, he says to him like, tell me more about this guy that you spoke to, like on the cyborg guy on the ship. And they start talking about it. And he says, what did you, sorry, school holidays, I've got the kids here. Right, so where was I? Yes, they're sitting on the sofa. Aid Edmondson comes in, he's like, tell me more about him. He says, what was that? What did he whisper to you? Because we've got cameras in your eyes. And the Indian guy, the guy says, like, I don't think I like that, the idea of cameras in my eyes, recording everything I see. And he's like, well, we're doing that, but there's something we missed on the camera. And it's, what does he whisper to you? And he said, it's, when's a robot not a robot, when's a machine not a machine. That's what he whispered to him. And he was like, oh, okay. And he walks out like, okay, fair enough. Leaves. And then we get like, a little bit later on, we get him in a bedroom by himself. He's watching telly, the Indian android. And suddenly the Wayne Yutani guy starts speaking to him. And he's like, I'm sorry about what I did earlier. I'm sorry if I scared you. Like, can you be my friend? And the Indian guy's really put out by it. You can hear his voice in his head. And he's like, look. And what it basically is, when he did the strangle thing, that little contact lens, we thought, actually went into the robot. So he's obviously got a speaker in it so he can now communicate with him. Which is quite, it's going to be interesting. It gives us like, now we've got an inside guy, if you know what I mean. So now the Yutani company have an inside man on that island. Which is, I think, what we're going to get. So we're going to get him trying to befriend the guy. He's going to end up doing something for him. He's going to manipulate him into doing stuff for him. So he's got his little like, he's like a little lackey. I think that's what we're going to do. So over the next couple of episodes, or even maybe the next episode, we're going to see him start to bond with the Indian guy, the Indian android guy. And I think that's when we're going to get like him manipulating him, go do this for me, go do that for me. And that's the way it's all going to go to hell. And we've got a lot of other characters. So we've got the red-headed synthetic, with a human conscious girl who's obviously massively traumatized by everything that's happened to her. So she keeps going back to seeing her dead body laying on the slab after she's been put into the android thing, and that Nibs, that's her name. And you get a lot of that. She doesn't like the fact that Wendy's the favourite. She doesn't like the fact that she had to change her name. All of this, it's deeply traumatised her, and I think she is going to have some sort of mental breakdown. And we see her walking along, like walking through the halls, and she's looking at the people that are working and stuff. And I have a funny feeling she's going to go mental and hurt people. So we've got that aspect. One of the other androids now, the female one, she wants to replace Wendy as top dog. So she's gone in to see Boy Genius. She starts talking to him like, look, I don't just like, I want to be what you want me to be. Where Wendy's kind of against what you want her to be, I want to be that. I want to be the next you. I want to be your successor. And the Boy Genius guy's talking about like how she could be his prodigy and stuff like that. But she says, am I still your favourite? And he's like, no, but you're getting there, sort of thing. So we've got a lot of different elements coming into play now, and I like that we sort of see more of the android, the human conscious androids, with that sort of like their characters are coming out, and we're seeing more of their individual characters and what they're like. And I do like that. I love that the two boys are very sort of like just want to play and fight and stuff like that. So it's good. There's another one there as well that we don't really see much of him. He's kind of more of a tech guy. He's always on like a tablet. So we don't really see much of him, but like I'm sure later his character will come out a bit more, he'll be more useful, or he's just fodder to see die later on down the road. So then we get to a stage where also the cyborg has spoken to the Utani company, and she's basically said to him like, just you've got the information, that's great, but we really need the specimens. And she says to him like, you can go if you want, you're done. But he says, because we find out it's like 65 years since he went up into space, so he's like, everyone I know is dead, like has died. And we find he's a parent as well, so he's obviously his kids must have died as well. So everyone I know is aged and died. It's like, it's not my life or world anymore. All I've got is the work I've done, so let me go and finish this. So that's why he's communicating with the guy on the island, because he wants to finish the work that he's done and help the Utani company, which is brilliant. So then we go to back to the Neverland again, and we're seeing them, because then Wendy wakes up. Everyone else, the woman's next to us, like the one's looking after her, she's asleep, but Wendy wakes up and she goes walking around silly, and she keeps getting that weird noise in her head. We saw in the last episode where she keeps getting this weird like noise in her head. It's somehow linked to the xenomorphs, and she's got this noise and it's irritating her. And then you go back to the lab, and guy from Scream 2, I'll try and remember his name for the next episode, I promise I'll try and remember his name. He's, with his bleached blonde hair, he's operating and like cutting up an alien egg. So he's got the egg out, and he's with a couple of other like synthetics in there, and they're cutting up the alien, they're going for it and that, and he sort of cuts into it, and she starts to get that pain, Wendy starts to get that pain in her head more. And I'm thinking like, what is it? Is it like some sort of sonic wave that sort of wakes the aliens up? And you keep going looking at the other eggs, and you see her like then you see and it keeps like transferring different visuals from all the other eggs sitting at the side in their little incubator thing to him cutting the one open, then to her like going, and then she sort of goes to the room where they're at, she looks through the window, she's sitting there, he then cuts it open, and then he sees you can see the face hugger sort of like inside the egg doing that. And that was a great visual as well. You see it inside the egg, and it's like a membrane, and he cuts them, and all this gooey stuff comes out, and the face hugger comes out, he manages to hold on to it, he then pins over, he sort of knocks it out of some electric thing, he starts cutting into it. And he actually moved. The first time we've seen this that I'm aware of, I can't remember, for me, no, I'm pretty sure wouldn't have done it at all. Romulus, I've only seen that once. I need to watch that again actually, so I might watch that tonight if I get a chance. I'll try. Anyway, but we see the embryo that's inside the face hugger. So he cuts it open, and you see this little, almost like a fish embryo. If you ever see a fish embryo egg, it looks kind of like that. It's only tiny, and he pulls out the tweezers and he's got it. It's sort of like wiggling around. It's like black. It's almost like skeletal. It's proper cool looking. It's really cool looking. And he gets it, and you see him taking it away. And she's like, the noise of whatever this frequency or wave is, it's in her head, like, and then Wendy passes out on the floor, just drops out on the floor. And then we see her brother, who's been operated on, they're trying to keep him alive. They remove one of his lungs, and they put it in like a because obviously he got stabbed, so it might have got bleeding problems there, I don't know. They've removed the lung, and they've connected it up to like in this glass jar up to these things to make it still function. And they put the embryo into this jar, and the embryo swims around and it gets into the lung and goes into the lung. And I'm like, they're gonna breed the bloody thing. they're going to, instead of doing it inside of a human host, they're going to keep it in this like jar, so they're going to see it come out in this jar so they can study it. And I was like, we haven't seen that before, and it does make sense that that's what you would do. And it's going to be interesting because that thing is going to break out of that jar. And I was like, oh, or are they going to try and keep it contained? Like when we saw Alien Resurrection, they've got 2 xenomorphs in like a cell, and they can keep them contained using this steam stuff. And I was thinking, is that what we're going to see a xenomorph sort of in like a cage? And are they going to try and train it? And then my imagination goes again. I said, are we going to get like a Jurassic World situation where we're going to get a good xenomorph? And I was like, that they're going to train. I was like, please don't do that, because that to me would be like, the xenomorphs are not something that could go on your team. They're not like, they're just like an element, a force of nature that destroys things, and then we've got repercussions of them. I don't want you to train a xenomorph to be a goodie. If they do that, I'm like, that's going to ruin the whole thing for me. But that's just where my brain went to. What if they're going to sort of like do like a Jurassic World, and you're going to have like the raptors that team up with Owen, and they're driving the motorbike, and the raptors are running next to him and that? What if it's going to be like, what's her name, Wendy's doing a Tom Cruise run, and the xenomorphs are like running with it? I'm like, please don't do that. I don't want that. But she does have a connection with them. That sound, it's a connection with them. So I'm like, are they going to go down that route? I really hope they don't. I really hope they don't. I'd rather aliens stay the villains and not suddenly become the goodies. Disney did this recently with Hocus Pocus, where at the end of Hocus Pocus 2, spoiler alert, witches, they try and make them heroes in a way. They kind of turn them good. And I'm like, these are child killers. Like, why are you turning them good? So that kind of like, and it's the same with this. I've got this with this alien thing. I don't want them to turn them good. So then, yes, puts the alien, and then the episode ends with her laying on the floor, and then we fade to the music and the credit roll. So I'm like, I've got all these theories in my head now, just from this one episode, where they could go, like different like lines they could follow. And each one I keep coming up with, I'm like, don't do that. Because it's an idea. I think, they could go there from this. And I'm like, please don't do that. So I do like the idea that maybe he can host a queen, and then, as I said, like maybe her brother, whose lung they're using, what if he can host a queen, and that's what that is, and the embryo that we've seen, what if that embryo is a queen? Do you know what I mean? If that embryo's a queen, that's gonna kick off royally. So I'm happy. I'm enjoying this side of it. Like it's getting my brain going now. So that means I'm enjoying the show because my brain is now firing. And where could they go? What could they do? So I'm happy that's happening. I do think this is a great show. I would recommend anyone to watch it. But a lot of people, it's a very polarized show because some people love it, some people hate it. So I think it depends on which side of that fence you're sitting on. But I love this show. I like where it's going. And I was told in one of the comments in my videos that I've got no taste because I like this show. But then I've got no taste. I like everything pretty much anyway. I mean, most things I generally like. Stuff I don't like, I just don't watch. So, but yeah, guys, thank you for watching this. Let me know if you agree with some of my thoughts on this program, where it's going to go. And let me know what you thought. Have you had any radical ideas of where this show's going to pivot off to, what the plan is? Let me know if you know anything. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. And if you did like to subscribe, I'm doing one of these every week. Every time there's an episode drop, I'm going to do another one of these videos. And I really hope you enjoy them. All right, see you later, guys. Enjoy. Bye.